Greetings, viewers. This is CP666 signing on for what is going to be a video that's going to address a couple of things that people have commented about over the last, I wouldn't say a little while, but there have been a couple of comments. Well, I guess I could say commented about in the last little while, but not on any of my recent videos. But still, I'm going to be addressing some comments regarding computer choice, hard drive choice, and yes, I'm going to be talking about that again. If you want to hear me rant about something, it's probably going to be that. Networking choice, and also audio choice. And we're going to have a general update video as well, because as you can see, this is definitely a lot different than it used to be. So what I did is I actually took out this thing, or the thing that used to be sitting on top of that, and put this in its place because speakers started blowing on that thing, so figure, well, what the hell, might as well put this and set this up so I can have a stereo system. But the problem is that there seem to be a lot of people on YouTube who come around on my videos. As you can see, I'm actually ripping a CD into iTunes right now. And yes, I'm using iTunes to do this. Even though I dislike iTunes, I could use some other things. I've got to get my internet radio set up for that. But anyway, I digress. Over the last couple of years on this channel, I have had a few different videos about this particular cost stereo. And I will admit that it is a generic piece of junk made in China relatively recently. It doesn't work very well. What's in the tape player at this point in time? There is something in the tape. Oh, it's just my test tape. Probably shouldn't play too much of this because it's... I think this is a Warner Music Group tape, so... Playing some of that will probably subject my video to being muted by the Music Mafia, but anyways... So we've got that. The other parts of this setup happen to be... This isn't included with it, but I figured that now that I've got the extra space, I might as well use it. And we've got this. That is a lot slower than it should be. But anyway, so... Well, it's ripping CDs right now. But anyways, so we've got that. But over the last several years, I've had many people comment about this, and... You know, it's the hardcore audiophiles that the videos of these seem to attract the most. The ones who are, you know, the type of people that I'm talking about. There are some audiophiles out there who I can stand being around. Not all of them fall into the category of, well, rude and obnoxious, and the ones who think that they're alright. But the videos that I make seem to be attractive of the ones who do think that they're always right. And you know the kind of people that I'm talking about. You're doing it all wrong, or you're an idiot, and you know, those kinds of things. So here's the problem. I'm going to admit right now, I am not a hardcore audio, enthusiast. I don't know anything, or, well, I do know some things, but I don't know a lot about audio reproduction. Because the way I like to go about things is to do things scientifically. So, with, a scientific method that can be reproduced in many different places. Which is great for something like a CPU, because with a CPU, you can, I don't know, you can... throw a task at the CPU and have it perform it and measure the time that it takes for it to perform it. And that specific task with those results can be reproduced in many different places as long as you have got the same resources, and you can still get the same results within margin of error. But with something like audio reproduction, whether you like it or not, audio reproduction is so subjective, and it always will be. And you can tell me all you want. I've heard this argument made before. There is no such thing as subjectivity with pure audio reproduction. To which I say, isn't that nice? But guess what? Pure audio reproduction sounds like garbage. In other words, you could have the purest amp, the purest DAC, the purest headphones or speakers or whatever you happen to use, and the purest audio file, and you could still have 99 out of 100 people turn around and go, oh, this sounds like ass. Which is why audio reproduction is still going to be as subjective as it has been before. So, for you to come by and tell me that I'm doing it all wrong because what I'm using doesn't happen to be the highest end audio solution possible, you know what? You're doing it all wrong. Why are you doing it all wrong? Because this works for me. It sounds okay. Can I do better? Yes. But guess what? This stuff may be crap, but it was free crap. So, there's that. And it works for me. It sounds decent enough for background audio. It's not like hardcore listening kind of thing. It's the kind of stereo that if you were to overdrive it, you could probably blow somebody away with it, but it's not like the highest end possible. But, well, you know what? It works. And that's all that I really care about. So for you to come by and tell me that, well, I'm doing it all wrong because I'm not using the highest end possible solution is, well, wrong. So, now that we've got that out of the way, this setup is probably going to stay like this for a while. I like it, and it's proven to work. That is really annoying. I can't sit by and look at this. So once that's done, and hopefully that finishes soon enough, I've got a bunch of discs that I need to rip into it. That's still broken. What happened is the little power thing in the back, it's missing a screw, so maybe that was part of its demise, but this thing is broken off the motherboard. I might take a look at it later. Who knows, I might even fix it. But anyways, so there's that. What else do I have in terms of updates to make? The lights, I don't know if I ever mentioned it. They've got 100 watt equivalent CFLs in them now, so they're a lot brighter. Which is why a lot of my recent videos have been brighter than some of my older ones. You didn't see me do that now, did you? So I've got all of this set up. The setup hasn't changed. None of the computers have changed. I don't know if you've actually seen this mouse pad here. That's done. Alright, so let's get the next disc ready. Well, I'll do that later. You're probably sitting here looking at this and wondering, well, what the hell? Why do you have this? Oh, hi, you don't need to see that. This is a loan-out phone. It's not mine, obviously, as shown by this bag. My phone is being repaired right now. I have no idea when it is going to be coming back to me. Should probably charge it, but I'm lazy, so I haven't charged it yet. Anyways, so that's the loan out. This is actually, what is this thing? Model number, LGE400R. Running Android 2.3. Hopefully you didn't see the IMEI of that thing. If you did, I'm going to have to blank it out because that's kind of private information. If we take a look, this is what it is. It's an Optimus L3. Seems to be a relatively recent phone, even though it looks like some ancient piece of junk. Review-wise, it seems like people don't like it. Let's see. Full of bloatware, it's hardly usable. Less expensive, but not reliable. Date-time issues. No features. How many other reviews? Are there any? No, it looks like the other two are pretty decent. Pretty decent reviews. And I'll be honest, this isn't something that I would really go out of my way to get because there's nothing special about it. But it works. I mean, all I really do with my phone is call people and the occasional text message. But there you go. For just calling, the camera's like not actually that bad. I should throw a little sample piece of footage in here in this video, but let's see if we can take a little test video with this thing. Probably looks like crap, but that's okay. It is ancient. It's only 640 by 480. Probably terrible quality video, and I'm probably covering up the microphone. Oh wait, maybe the microphone's right there. I think that's the microphone, so I'm not covering it up. Good. Anyway, well, there you go. It isn't as bad as some of the reviews make it out to be. Sure, it's not great. It really does feel quite cheap. Like, honestly, it's not made out of high-quality plastic. But it works, and that's all that I really care about. I'm not going to keep it. I like my Ace 2X, thank you very much. But anyway, so there we have that. Next on the hit parade, computer choice. So as you know, I had recently, well, what would it have been? It would have been almost 2 months ago now. I got this T410. So there were a couple of people wondering, well, a couple different things. Why didn't I get a T400 was the first one, because it was cheaper. Why didn't I get a T510? Because it had the same size screen as my T500, which this replaced. Why didn't I get an HP Ultrabook, or an HP EliteBook? Not Ultrabook. And the last one is, why didn't I just buy new instead of buying used or buying reconditioned? And the last one, I think, is, why did you replace your other computer? Doesn't it work perfectly fine? Alright, so let's address these comments, and as you can, won't be able to see it, but I have my hand over my eyes right now because a lot of these questions are just really, really... I addressed them in the video, so the fact that people don't know the answers is kind of annoying, but that being said, I will address them in this particular video. Why didn't I get a T400? Well, short story is that, well, long story I guess, is that I got a T400 up there. So if I really wanted to get a T400, I would just fix that one. It would have cost me about the same amount of money. But I wanted the better processor that the T410 offered, which is an i5 2.4 gigahertz 520M. It's not modern by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still an i5, so it's got more virtual cores on it, so it will perform some tasks faster. The other reason was because the only T400 that they had that was available, they had two, one of them was sold out when I went to go buy this one, had 2 gigabytes of memory installed in it by default, which means that it would have had two 1 gigabyte modules. If I got lucky, it would have had one 2 gigabyte module, but I'm not going to bank on myself being that lucky, which means that I would have been stuck with 5 gigabytes of memory. Right now, I've got 6 gigabytes of memory installed in this, and I might even buy an 8 gigabyte module for this and have 12 gigs, because why not, right? In all honesty, I might just buy another 4 gigabyte module and have 8 gigs, because that would be nice. But anyway, 6 gigs is plenty for now. I wanted to have 6 gigs as opposed to 5 gigs, simply because it's an even number and it's more memory, so it would be far more useful. Man, that CD drive is making a lot of noise over there. Oh, it's playing music. Let's shut that off before my video gets muted. So, that's why I didn't get a T400. Why didn't I get a T510? Very good question. The T510 has USB 3, which would have been nice. The T510 also has the LED backlit display, and it's a larger display resolution, which would have been nice. The problem is that the T510 also would have been bigger. So I would have had to squish this up against, well, here. Would have had no room over here to put anything. And I would have had to squish it up against this hub right here. And because this hub gets hot, yeah, that's going to burn cables, pinch wires, and not be an ideal situation. Which is why I got the smaller notebook. Simply because it leaves me with more desk room. Oh yeah, the other reason why I didn't get a T400 is because this T410 has an LED backlit display. It's the same resolution, 1280 by 800. But the LED backlit display not only is brighter, but can also go much dimmer than the CCFL backlit displays. And it draws less power. So there's that. No, that's like power measurement is negligible, but it still does draw a little bit less power. Although it's a moot point because the CPU draws more. But that being said, there you go. I got this, so. Now why didn't I get an HP EliteBook? Very good question. I was considering getting an HP EliteBook. In fact, my next computer might very well be an HP EliteBook. But the one thing that killed it for me on the HP EliteBook that I was looking at was the fact that the EliteBook had a chiclet-style keyboard. I can't stand chiclet-style keyboards. This is a chiclet-style keyboard up here. Granted, the HP ones, I've taken them before, they're a lot better than this. But still, typing on a chiclet-style keyboard that is even remotely similar to this every single day just isn't ideal, because I like to have the tactile feedback with these, so I would be hammering on these keys in order for them to make a lot of noise. Like that. Because I like to hear the keys. I like to be able to push hard on my keys. And these, well, I can still push really hard on them. they still make just as much noise even when I'm pushing lighter, like I'm doing right now. So I don't have to hammer on the goddamn keyboard in order to get that satisfactory tactile feedback like I would with one of these. Which is why whenever I'm typing on this, you can hear, like, it's really loud. So there's that. And plus, that also sends shock throughout the machine, which can probably damage components later on in life, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't go with that. Great, it would have been better built than this, but this is still relatively well built. Oh yeah, and this was also cheaper. The EliteBook I was looking at was $500. This was $300. And this also had all of the features that I needed in a notebook. All that I really cared about. This one also worked. The EliteBook had some issues. It was being sold as parts of repair. And while it would have made an interesting video, I didn't know what was wrong with it, so I rather would not have taken a chance on having a machine with a dead motherboard and having to go to HP and get a new motherboard and do all that, blah, blah, blah. Would have been a lot of work and just not the kind of work that I was willing to go for. Why didn't I go get brand new? Well, the computers that you can buy brand new in a store like Best Buy are garbage. And again, just like the audio, this is subjective. A lot of people... That was scary. But anyways, a lot of people, they will swear by the HP, Toshibas that you can buy, or the Dells that you can buy, or the Gateways, or the HPs, and the Compacts that you can buy in Best Buy. A lot of people swear by them. In fact, I've got one right there, and another one in a bag sitting over there. There's nothing wrong with them. But they don't have the same quality as something like this has. This is a business-built machine. This is built with, not plastic, this is actually built with carbon fiber. It feels like plastic, but it is built with like a sort of carbon fiber material. Have you ever taken a look at these? Carbon fiber and magnesium. So it's not plastic, it's actually a lot more durable than plastic, which is one of the reasons why, when I dropped this one, it survived. The display is not broken, and even though the hard drive died as a result, it's not, like the display is not cracked, even though it landed on this corner right here of the display housing, it didn't crack it. That's the reason why. Probably. Other than the fact that it's a little bit more well-built than some piece of crap that you can buy for $500 at Best Buy. They have better processors. They have maybe not more memory. They have better hard drives, but I don't care. All of that can just be completely thrown out the window because I have had terrible luck with computers that I have bought new. The last one that I bought new was a Toshiba Satellite L300D040. That was the biggest hunk of garbage I think I have ever purchased in my entire life. That thing never worked right. Well, I shouldn't say never worked right. It did work right for a couple of days of its entire lifespan. It was 2 years. But, so, there you have it. I think this is done. I can take a look. Nope, maybe not. It's still working on it. But in any event, that's why I didn't buy one of those. Oh yeah, and you're probably going to ask why I replaced the T500. This thing is making fan noise. So I didn't replace it just because I needed to replace another computer. I replaced it because this one is starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. I am not displeased with the performance that this thing has given me. I'm not displeased with the display, especially now that I've upgraded it. And I'm certainly not displeased with the I/O performance. It it started making noise with the fan. And I got sick and tired of listening to that all the time. So, just replaced it with a new machine and was able to upgrade a couple of other computers. So that's the whole deal behind that. And, well, this video is going to be long. And now we get to hard drives. So I think first things first. What the hell do you use in terms of hard drives? And how do you connect them all to your computer? Well, I addressed this in a video already, but since most people didn't bother to watch it, I might as well go ahead and address it again. So we've got a Seagate enclosure here, a Seagate portable drive. And in it, I've actually got, ironically, a Western Digital 500 gigabyte WD Blue drive. Going strong, excellent drive. Right here, I've got a blue My Passport 320 gig drive. That is the longest drive, that's the oldest drive I own, and it has been the most reliable. It's been dropped several times, and it still works. It's been dropped while it's been running, and it still works. Underneath that, I have a 1 terabyte Toshiba USB 3 drive, but the USB 3 won't get used. I've got a 2 terabyte Toshiba sitting right beside it that I got on sale. And the recent addition is this, with a little protective thing over top of the LED because it is freaking bright. I mean, look at that. Is that not just as bright as the sun itself? Camera doesn't even like it. That's an 80 gigabyte Western Digital Caviar. Notice something that isn't here. Seagate hard drives are not here. And I've ranted in the past about Seagates and how unreliable they are. And I've had people criticize me. And maybe I'm a little bit harsh when I say that Seagates you should avoid like the plague. But there are people who would say that you should avoid Seagates like the plague. And there are people who swear by them. So you've got two sides to the fence, and you've also got a middle ground. It's just the same with any other hard drive manufacturer. There are people that you could talk to that swear by Western Digitals. There are people that have had a mixed bag with Western Digitals, and there are people who say avoid Western Digital like the plague. Just the same as Seagates, Hitachis, Toshibas, everybody has had differing experiences with different hard drives. My experience with Seagate has been abysmal. I have returned every single drive that I have bought at least once. Some cases I've returned 4 successive drives before I got a working replacement. I don't own a single non-reconditioned serial ATA 320 or 250 gigabyte Seagate hard drive. That's a Toshiba. That's not what I want. As you can see, this is a factory reconditioned drive. I have a factory reconditioned drive in my, I think it's in there. Yeah, I think it's in the Compact, or maybe it's in the Acer netbook. I've got a factory reconditioned drive in there. Those are the only 3 Seagate drives that I've got left. I have purchased at least 10 of them in the past, and 3 of them have survived, and none of them are like the original drive that I bought at the store. They've all been replaced under warranty. So, that has to say something. They've been dreadfully unreliable in the situations that I've put them in, and I don't overwork my drives. Granted, I used to run my system 24/7, which probably killed a whole bunch of the drives that I did have. But sometimes I don't, I don't know how I want to say this. But these WD drives, 500 gig that's in there, and most of the drives back there have been running 24/7 for most of their lifespan as well, and they have not developed a single problem. So that has to tell you something as well. That Seagates are not designed the same. And even these WDs are not rated for 24/7 operation. In fact, I think they even state on their website, do not run these 24/7. They're not suitable for that. Buy a WD red NAS drive if you're going to do that. Because NAS drives are rated. Actually, WD purple drives are also rated for 24/7 operation, be it in a NAS or in a surveillance system, respectively. I think purple drives are relatively new, in fact. I haven't really heard of them, and I don't really see them anywhere. But anyways, not the point. My point is that WD works for me, Toshiba works for me, Seagate does not work for me. So for you to come by and tell me that I'm doing it all wrong because I don't like Seagate hard drives and that I used Western Digitals is, well, once again, wrong. So just don't do it. I am actually really sick and tired of the people who just have nothing better to do with their lives than come around and tell me that I'm an idiot for not liking Seagates and for telling people that they're unreliable. Because you know what? They have been unreliable, in my experience. Everybody's different. You will not believe how many Seagate 7200.9s, 7200.10s, 7200.12s, and especially the 7200.11s that I have replaced over the last 5 years. I should have kept all of them. I would have a Tupperware box, probably about the size of, oh, I don't know, maybe this desk, filled with them. Not joking. I've replaced that many Seagate drives over the last little while. 5 years being a little while, which isn't really a little while. That wasn't what I wanted to say. But still, it's ridiculous. In terms of other updates that I need to make, not very much. I did put POS Ready 2009 on the T42. The Compaq and the Acer and all of these have been running perfectly fine. This HP print calc has been beautiful. I've used it several times now. 6 volts, 1.8 watts. What? 6 volts, 300 milliamps. Yeah. Okay. So it's been running fine. That's been going on strong, and I've used it a couple of times. It's really nice, actually. Is this almost finished, or is it still going to take forever? Oh, yeah, it's almost done. Alright, anyways. So that's all of that. Everything here is pretty much alright. The last thing that I need to address is my networking setup. So you can see, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, I think I did, then I changed it back to this dual hub 8P. I should probably get a gigabit switch. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to get a absolutely baller, I don't know if that's the right word you would use, but this absolutely top-end managed switch that will perform gigabit operations that will cost me a fortune because it's the best thing ever. It is not the best thing ever. This is a home networking solution, and this hub right here was free. It was pulled out of the trash because it has a problem with packet collisions. And yes, I can verify that. It does have a problem with package collisions. But it is not bad. I don't get full 12 megabits or 12 megabytes out of the 1 gigabit range, or 100 megabit range. I don't get the full 1.25 megabytes. I don't get the full 12.5 megabytes. But I get pretty damn close to it. Which is all that I really need. Because this is a home networking setup, and rarely do I ever go online with any other computer other than this one, which is hooked up via wireless. So I don't need high-performance networking equipment. Granted, I would love to have a gigabit switch because it would make transferring files so much easier. But I'm not going to go out and buy a gigabit switch because I simply don't need it. This 10100 hub works perfectly fine for the situation. It does get hot, it does waste a lot of energy. It is a Chinese piece of junk, but it was a free Chinese piece of junk. So I'm willing to let it ride for as long as it works. And with that said, that's really going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. As long as they're not calling me an idiot, not telling me that I'm doing it all wrong, and not telling me that I'm an asshole. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then. Wow, this was an incredibly long video.